This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore! Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome to the Mailbag, everybody, for this Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. Hope everyone's doing well as we are halfway through the week, or as you listen to this, it's Thursday, I would imagine, and we are nearly to the end of the week. If that means anything to you, if you have a traditional job, then yeah, you're looking forward to it, right? Weather's getting warmer, summer's around the corner, Memorial Day, and as we all know as wrestling fans, Night of Champions is also about a week and a half away. That came up so fast. But before we get to anything, I want to thank our new patrons over there at patreon.com. And Justin, we have welcome back to Screws Tonic. Welcome back. And Dennis McGinley, Mr. Dennis McGinley. You joined and then left. I don't know if you have duplicate accounts or what, but you have joined us and then it looks like you left us a day later. I'm imagining it's because either you hate us or you got your accounts mixed up. But I would reach out to Patreon and have them work out any technical issues that you may have. But again, if you want to join our patrons, head on over to patreon.com/WWE podcast and get everything ad free. I'm also going to be doing more of a YouTube presence if you're into such things. There's not going to be anything ad free or anything there that's really exclusive content per se, but more of trying to do more video on YouTube and of course more video for those of you on Patreon that is not anywhere else. So, YouTube, if you want to head over there and join us, you know the name. I don't even need to tell you where that is, but, guys, we've got a lot of stuff to get through tonight, this morning, this afternoon, whatever is applicable to you, because you guys have overwhelmed me this week, and that's not a bad problem to have, but it does mean that new rules need to go into place in order for this show to continue in a way that gives everybody a voice, because the options are I get through X amount of people in about an hour and 15 minutes that I've dedicated every week to this, or and which would leave everybody, or probably half the people, not getting a voice on the show, or it results in shorter times but more people on the show, which I prefer. Right? Like if you take the time to call in, if you take the time to email, I'd rather have more people on the show, even if it's in a more limited capacity, than fewer people with longer emails. So that's what I'd like to do as we move forward. What that means is after this week, and this week's going to be a bear to get through, you guys, I love your passion. This isn't a complaint, but it's just a time management thing. But next week, here's what we're going to do. If you are not a patron of the show, here's what's going to happen. Okay. We can only handle 3 minutes of an email. If you are not a patron of the show and you send an email in, read your email back to yourself. If it's more than 3 minutes, cut it to 3 minutes. All right. Like, I mean, that will help. I'm also going to be limiting those of you not on Patreon to either an email or a phone call. Okay. I can't have, two for one person. Again, 2 spots for one person it's not the best use of our time. Even though I know some people love to call in and email, you got to pick one. Okay. For those of you on Patreon, here's what we're going to do, because you guys are patrons of the show. I think it's only appropriate that we give you special privileges. I'd still like to have the 3-minute email limit to you as well, but I will, if you'd like, you can do an email and a voicemail as well. But I just, some of the emails, guys, I love it, but it's time management, and that's all it is. It's all it is. So 3 minutes is the rule. If you're ever kind of coming out of this going, what the hell did he say? It's 3 minutes. Okay. Think of 3 minute warning. Rosie and Jamal. Okay. It's now 2003 again, and we have Rosie and Jamal 3 minute warning. Okay. If you ever need to know or remember what the time limit is. So those are the new rules. Again, they go into effect next week. As a recap, those of you on Patreon can submit both if you'd like, but both still need to adhere to 3 minutes. Those of you who are not patrons of the show, you can do one or the other and still be limited to 3 minutes. So that's going to be the rule moving forward, and maybe that'll mitigate some of the longer emails. But if not, I'm going to have to cut the voicemails down to 2 minutes or less and see how that goes. But let's start with there. Okay, I don't want to chop everybody off at the legs here, but let's start there. So with all that said and all the new rules imposed by Daddy here, let's get to voicemails first. I said I was going to change it up. This is because of DJ. He said, "Why don't you change it up?" I don't know why I don't change it up. We're creatures of habit, right? We just do things in a familiar way because that's, I don't know if it's a survival tactic or evolution or way our brains are wired, or just for comfort that things are familiar and you do things a certain way. Either way, DJ, thank you for the suggestion. So tonight, I'm going to be switching it up. We're doing voicemails first. So what more appropriate way to start off than with a voicemail from, you guessed it, Mr. DJ Kuzmo. Take it away.
Podcast world, this is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show, recorded you live on a Wednesday morning, and let's get to your favorite show to come in every single week on the Mailbag, and I'm talking about the Veer Mahaan Report. Now, the Veer Mahaan Report took place this past Monday night on Monday Night Raw, and oh my goodness, we did get an appearance of the In-The-Sheer in the ring, in their in-ring debut this past Monday night, of course, with my guy Veer Mahaan and Saga, and of course, the modern day Maharaja looking on as we did get this quick squash match, this absolute dominant performance of the In-The-Sheer going up against LeVar Barbie and Drake Thompson. Who the hell are these jobbers? Jobber number one and jobber number two, let's just call it that. So jobber number one just gets absolutely squashed by Veer Mahaan and Saga, while jobber number two was kicked out the ring. So this was an absolute dominant performance from this tag team, as we did get to see some very impressive quick tags. We did get to see some impressive leaping ability from my guy Veer Mahaan. Oh my goodness, with the leaping elbow drop, to Drake Thompson, and of course the match ends in a very quick finish where it looks like some sort of doomsday finisher, some sort of doomsday tag team finisher, where Veer Mahaan goes to the middle rope, and of course Saga positions Drake Thompson. He holds Drake Thompson for the $1 million arm squash to none other than Drake Thompson. And 1, 2, 3, the In-The-Sheer win, and this continues. Hopefully this continues their phase 2, as Jinder Mahal says, their phase 2 of dominance in the NXT, but in the Monday Night Raw tag team division. Now, we did get to hear from Jinder Mahal. We did get to hear from the modern day Maharaja when he says lots of people are saying Raw belongs to them, but in actuality, it belongs to the In-The-Sheer, and the future, our future, will be written in gold. I can't wait to see the day when the In-The-Sheer dethrone the tag team champions, whoever they are, whether it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, or whatever up-and-coming tag teams. You better watch out, because the In-The-Sheer is coming, and they are coming very strong, as they had a dominant performance, of course, against a bunch of jobbers, but that's not the case. Let's go forward, and I don't want to go backward with a whole bunch of this type of crap. But other than that, I hope y'all have a blessed week. This is your boy DJ Kuzma. This is your guy DJ Kuzma. Have an awesome week. Be kind to one another. Stay healthy, my friends, and peace.
The weekly Veer Mahaan report brought to you by DJ Kuzmo, and it's feeling more and more relevant, isn't it? Those weeks that felt like months where they weren't doing much of anything. They were not even on NXT. And now here they are on the main roster. Sure, it's against jobbers, but so what? How many teams and single stars start out with jobbers? And you know what? A lot of them that start out with jobbers are the ones that end up being the most successful, because they're trying to build them as dominant. They're trying to build them towards something. It doesn't mean, it's actually not a bad sign they're working with nobodies, because they're trying to establish dominance for future opponents when they get to the real roster on Raw, when they get to the regular the regular wrestlers. So this is a good sign to me. It really is. I mean, hell, I mean, look what they did with Braun Strowman forever. Now, Braun Strowman is not exactly one of the biggest names in wrestling, but he's had I think a very successful career. Omos continues to squash the the nobodies when he's not in programs with Brock Lesnar or Bobby Lashley or Seth Rollins, but he's worked with those guys. And Omos is a big name. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a major star, but the formula works, man. And it has proven time and again that when you squash nobodies, you can do it for a certain amount of time. You can't do it forever, but it does create this aura around you of, man, well, how are they going to fare when they get in the ring with a real team, right? And that's going to be the fun of this. I hope it doesn't go on forever. I would imagine they have some kind of plan over the next 6 months for them. I don't know if that includes tag team gold. I think that's a little too soon. But what do I know? You follow them much more closely, DJ, than I do, and I'm rooting for the Indus. I am. I think they've got a presence, and with Jinder Mahal being their mouthpiece and their centerpiece, kind of, it's fun. It's fun, and I like what I'm seeing. So thank you, DJ. We'll get to your email a little bit later, but let's get to that next voicemail.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. So I wanted to talk about last night's SmackDown episode and talk about this whole announcement now that Roman Reigns is going after Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa going after the tag team championships. I don't understand why that's even a thing. This whole Roman Reigns is champion at this point. It's a big mess. You have the World Heavyweight Championship as a thing. You're gonna have Styles and Rollins at Night of Champions, which should be fun. I'm looking forward to that match. They haven't wrestled for a while, so that should be a fun match for the World Heavyweight Championship and Night of Champions. But I guess I don't understand and don't get why they're doing this with Roman Reigns. What is the point of still having forgoing what 1,000 days? Then what? Who cares at that point? So it's like in some respect, I hear other people saying that they should have put the title on Cody Rhodes while he had the chance, but in some respects, I get what they're saying, but I also don't. But I'm also glad that he still did it because Rhodes isn't really all that credible to be champion. And so, as of right now, because it was just really too fast, I'm kind of conflicted on realistically. At the end of the day, that should have been Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, but whatever. I think at the end of the day, though, I guess I just don't know why they're just refusing to have him defend the Universal Championship and going after tag team championships with Solo Sikoa. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe you can make sense of it, or maybe you can't. But I just want to just put that out there. But that's it. They throw a call. Bye.
Hey, Kyle. So I hear your frustration, but if I'm in WWE's shoes, here's why I would do what they're doing. And it's simply to further the split of the Usos and Roman and Solo. Because eventually, you would imagine down the line, maybe as soon as SummerSlam, maybe, it's going to be the Usos versus Solo and Roman. And no tag team is going to be involved. No tag team championship should be involved. I'm leaning more towards Kevin and Sami retaining because they just won them. There's a lot of heel tag teams, including new teams like the Indus and Pretty Deadly, that they could work with. And having Roman, again, be an absentee champion for another championship just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. This match is set up, not for Roman, I don't believe, to win the tag team championship, but to rather further the storyline of the split of the bloodline. That's it. Because I would imagine that the finish of this is going to be the Usos unintentionally, maybe not so unintentionally, costing Solo and Roman the match. That's what's going to happen here. Because that's what this is all about. And let's be honest, Kevin and Sami, they have a little bit of unfinished business with Roman. I mean, it's still there. Not as hot as it was a few months ago, no doubt, but that's why they're doing this. So don't look at it as, well, why is he doing after the tag team championship? Well, he shouldn't be doing that. But I don't think he's going to win. I think I'm firmly on that side now. Unless they do something wacky over the next couple of weeks on TV to change my mind. That to me is what their objective is to further the split of the bloodline, not about the tag team championships. That's what this is about. And as far as Roman not defending the Undisputed Championship, yeah, are we not used to this by now? It's been 3 years nearly, which is insane. And how many times does he take a pay-per-view off? A lot. Several times a year, actually. So, I mean, as I spoke about Anthony DeMarco, I spoke about this with Anthony DeMarco on our current state earlier in the week. We mentioned that it's likely that Roman Reigns does not defend his championship until July 1st in London at Money in the Bank, because he's not defending it at Night of Champions, unless barring something crazy creatively over the next couple weeks, which I don't anticipate. And then the next event after May 26th is the Money in the Bank event in London at the O2 Arena. So it could be exactly 3 months from the last time Roman Reigns defended his championship, which that's a little excessive, I think. Going 1 month is enough. 2 months is the limit that we've been extended to or pushed to, and now it's going to be 3 months until Roman defends his belt again at Money in the Bank. Presumably. I mean, hell, maybe he doesn't defend it again until SummerSlam. Who the hell knows? I mean, maybe the Solo and Roman thing and the Usos happen at Money. I mean, who knows, right? But my guess is it's July 1st in London. He finally defends the championship. So July 1st, guys. And, you wonder how this championship reign has gone so long, because we've never had a champion in the modern era anyway that has had so much time in between title defenses. And I know that's how they used to do it. I understand that, but it's not the past. This is the present, and it's just people get impatient, and understandably, no doubt. But there you go. All right, we're going in circles, but that's the explanation, Kyle. Thanks for calling in. Let's get to our next one.
Hey, this is Dennis McGinley, or Mr. Dennis McGinley. I'm actually currently from Boston, Wisconsin, if I haven't ever said that before. And that's Boston, not Boston. Hey, Matt, I just wanted to let you know I'm having trouble logging into Patreon account on my laptop. I've had some Geek Squad things happen, so I'm having trouble. So here's what I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a new Patreon account with updated Gmail email that you don't have. So I'm on the SmackDown tier for my account that you have the information that lets me have that. Just look out for this, please. Thank you as always. If you could, when you get back, can you get back to me on Twitter that you got it and anything I need to do for you? Do my best. I'll do my best to listen to this mailbag, but you know how things go. LOL. If this sounds crappy, I blame it on my mouth. Have a nice day. See you later, Matt. Bye. So.
All right, Dennis. Hey, at first I listened to this. I'm like, this is kind of a technical question. Maybe it doesn't belong on the mailbag. Yeah, but it does, because Patreon's a fun community, and generally speaking, if anybody has technical problems, as I mentioned at the early beginning of the show, if you have technical problems with Twitter, or rather with really Twitter too, anything, I'm not a help desk for technical problems. If someone ever needs a refund, of course I can issue refunds. That's actually something I can do on Patreon. But when it comes to Twitter or anything else, okay. I know as much as everyone else does when it comes to that stuff. But when it comes to Patreon, again, I can give refunds. I can, message you. But if you have technical problems with Patreon, that's why Patreon has a help desk. They have a contact us email. Okay. Reach out to them. You're better off than me. If you have some kind of mix up with your email or anything, let me know. Now, if it's some Discord related issue, I know some of you, by the way, have messaged me about Discord and how the link expires. I don't know what the hell's going on with that, I have to say. There was an integration recently with Patreon and Discord where they directly integrated it with Patreon, and there's been some glitches along the way. So I've done my best to integrate everybody into the tier that they have pledged. But if you're still having problems with Discord, let me know. Okay, I can provide you another direct link to Discord. And that's what I'll do. Okay, I just want to say that because it's been a common theme over the last several months is Discord is a problem. But if it's about your account or login stuff, go to Patreon directly. You'll get a much better, quicker, more accurate response than me. All right. So there's our Internet Help Desk segment for the week. Let's get to our next voicemail.
Hey, Matt. It's New York Kyle. I'm going to ask just this once again. I know I asked it once before, but it's been a while. 2 voicemails just as once. This is something important I got to tell you about. Guys, it's out. For this time, for once, it's not wrestling related. I actually message this whole thing about to say. I was gonna originally email this all. It's really long, but it'd be better if I just said it in my voice. I want to say it in person. Because this podcast has become like a family to me. So this is something personal that's happened to me. So I want to tell you guys. This was the worst Mother's Day I've ever had. I'm not trying to make this depressing. I don't want to depress the mailbag episode. It's just something I want to tell you guys because you're like family. That's all. This has been the worst Mother's Day of my life. So basically, the reason why is because I haven't told you guys this yet. Last Thursday, my mom went to the hospital. She basically had a blood clot in her neck, and she went to the hospital on Thursday, and she was going to be there till Tuesday, which now today in the mailbag it's either Thursday or Wednesday, so it's like a day or two after. So she's out now, most likely. Yeah, she's coming out actually. Anyway, yeah, she basically was in the hospital, and she got a blood clot, and they got a neck surgery on her, and she's gonna be there during Mother's Day. And then I actually just recently caught a stomach bug, so if you're not 100% healthy, you can't go inside the room with someone. So basically, I can't go inside the room she's in, to see her before her surgery because I have a stomach bug. I'm not 100% healthy. So I'm basically spending Mother's Day not even seeing my mom, and she's in the hospital. So yeah, things kind of suck right now. Hang on, I'm going to record the second voicemail. Hey Matt, it's me, New York Kyle again. So update actually, my mom just got out of the surgery. It was only like 2 hours. It actually went perfectly. Surprisingly, it was pretty quick. 2 hours is quick. They said it's pretty quick for neck surgery actually. But yeah, she's out now. She's coming home. It's gonna take some getting used to though. She's gonna have to stay home from work for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Things are gonna be different. It still sucks though that I literally spent Mother's Day with my mom in the hospital and not even being there. It's horrible. My stomach bug's also getting better, so that's good. But yeah, so that's some good news. It's still sad. It's sad that's what's going on. She's not gonna be right. It's not gonna be the same. I shouldn't say right. She's not gonna be the same. That's a better word for it. Yeah. So I want to, people are already messaging me in the Discord saying prayers and all that. So everyone who messaged me that in the Discord, from the bottom of my heart, thanks. Thank you very much. It's just, it was heartwarming to see all the nice messages. It was really heartwarming. You guys don't know how much, this podcast actually helps me. And even that, also, with your podcast, you help a lot. That day during Mother's Day when I couldn't talk to my mom, I was literally listening to your podcast. Your podcast helps get through days a lot. Whenever I have days like that, I've never really had mental health problems or anything. And for people that do, prayers to you and all that. But I'm lucky enough to. I'm not saying I'm special or anything. I'm just saying I'm lucky enough that I've never had any mental health problems before, really. But probably the only time I was really depressed was when my grandpa died a couple of years ago. Just getting too personal now. So, yeah. So I was still a little depressed, obviously this week because of what's going on with my mom. It's really, this is my first time real mental health I've had. But I feel better now. She's out and safe. But yeah, you guys help a lot with this podcast. Without this podcast, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. If I was stuttering a lot, I was holding back a little bit of tears, not gonna lie. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys next week.
All right, Kyle. Well, let me just say first of all, I mean, I'm glad things are getting better, right? I mean, when I got your first voicemail, I'm thinking the worst. Like I'm thinking, we're all thinking what I'm not going to say, but like I thought it was headed there. And while you didn't get to spend Mother's Day with your mother, hey, at least the surgery went well, and your stomach bug, which I mean, the neck surgery is more serious than the stomach bug, but the stomach bug is no joke. Anybody that has a stomach bug or food poisoning, I mean, you want to die. Like, I mean, I'd rather have a cold for 3 weeks than have a stomach bug for 24 hours. It is the worst feeling in the world, vomiting every 45 minutes. I mean, I've had food poisoning a handful of times, and it is the absolute worst. Stomach bug, I've had a few times. It's the same thing to me. Stomach bug and food poisoning kind of feel the same. Either way, I mean, that's awful. But yeah, your mom, I'm glad things went well. All right, I had no idea. I'm not on the Discord server as much as I probably should be. That's for you guys. I don't want to play daddy on there. Okay, I only pop in there when there's a problem. So when somebody's saying things that are they shouldn't be saying, or someone just is over the top, and I have to boot somebody, which happens very rarely. I think I've only kicked out like one person over the last how many years I've been doing this. But I'm glad, Kyle, that the show could help you. All right, it kind of and I know we haven't talked about wrestling in the last 15 minutes. Which is, hey, I don't mind some of these calls because we don't get a whole lot of them. And certainly the health of family trumps any topic. And it brings things back to kind of center, right? Like when something happens to a family member, and it doesn't, so say you go like a couple of years and all of a sudden, wham, something happens. Everything else just suddenly doesn't matter, right? All the things you were worried about, work, your like money, anything else you had going on, all of a sudden none of that stuff matters, and it only the health of that your family member matters, so yeah, it just reminds you of your mortality, and I don't know how old you are, Kyle. I would imagine in your 20s, early 20s. It sounds like that's my guess, and I'm in my late 30s now, which trust me, I'm mentally still where you are. Okay, let me just say that my brain has frozen at the age of 24. But my body keeps aging, which is an interesting dynamic. But as you get older, your parents, your grandparents, they start to slowly, go, right? It's life. It's the one opponent that's undefeated. Undefeated. We all will lose. And it just kind of reminds you of your mortality, your family's mortality, where sometimes you think you're going to be here forever or do something forever. You're not. And it's an unfortunate reality. It's just part of life. It's part of the human condition. It's grief. Being being here is sometimes about suffering, and it sucks. But hey, I'm glad everything went well. And yeah, you didn't get to spend Mother's Day with your mother, but wouldn't you rather have not been able to, or to be in the situation you're in right now, with the way everything turned out, or something even worse happened, but yet you still spent Mother's Day with your mother, right? So you got to look at it that way. So, all right. Well, Kyle, I'm glad we could get you through some times, and feel free to reach out to us. The Discord server or Discord chat seems to be supporting you pretty well, and continue to use it. All right. Let's get to our next voicemail.
This is the certified one-of-a-kind doctor of the Takeover crew and member of the WWE podcast family, Dr. Say it with me, BGB. And this week I want to start something new, a little series called Dr. BGB, Rumors and Humors of the Week. Now for the rumors. I read that WWE is hesitant to put the World Heavyweight Championship on Seth Rollins due to him filming the upcoming Captain America's movie. And Randy Orton's doctors are advising him not to wrestle again. Moving it down, the potential men for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have Damian Priest, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, Matt Riddle, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Finn Balor, Chad Gable, and Edge are all names that are getting thrown around at the moment. So don't be surprised seeing a few of them in the ladder match. And then WWE and UFC combines the group name for it will be called the TKO Group Holdings. TKO standing for Technical Knockout, which is kind of funny considering in WWE there is no knockout, so it's mainly for UFC, I'm guessing. And moving on to the humors of the week, Sami Zayn saying, let's hear them out, gentlemen and Dom. Roman saying, oh, you think I'm a clown now? Pretty Deadly calling it Friday Night Snackdown. Baron Corbin losing in 6 seconds. And Riddle kicking his flip-flops at Gunther. All right, that has it. I just wanted to do a little some for the show. Shout out to Matt, and I just want to say, New York High, I hope your mom's doing better. And everyone, have a blessed week. I'm going to be bringing this back very soon. This is Dr. BGB signing out from the emergency room.
All right, Dr. BGB, welcome back. And I like that little segment. It's kind of like a quick hit thing. You know, you just kind of rattle off some funny things, some important things. And I like how you touched on Money in the Bank a little bit with the potential contenders as we look ahead, of course, till July 1st, which doesn't it feel like an eternity away? But y'all know what happens when a pay-per-view feels super far away. You blink and you're like, oh my God, it's next week. That's the way of the world. And thinking about who could be in it, I mean, Edge is an absolute contender. If Edge is in it, I think he's a favorite, given that he could cash in and win the World Heavyweight Championship and win the belt that he never really lost back in 2011. But also Cody Rhodes. And I'm thinking he could cash in. But here's the thing with the Money in the Bank ladder match. It's a match built for a heel to win. Now, you could have a babyface do the quote-unquote right thing and let their opponent know ahead of time that they're going to cash in. But then you look like a fool for not utilizing it for what it's meant to do and what it could be. And to me, here's what I think could happen. You could have Cody Rhodes about to grab that briefcase, just about to grab it. And then who comes out but Brock Lesnar to screw Cody Rhodes again? Thus leading to the finale of Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar in some kind of hellscape match. I don't know. 3 stages of hell. That's what I think it's going to lead to. I mean, early call. We don't even know who's in the match or if Brock Lesnar is going to be around for that long, whatever. That's my guess. That's my guess is that, Brock goes away, win, lose, or draw at Night of Champions against Cody. And then Cody's about to win it and go. He's finally back on track talking about finishing his story. And who comes in again to divert him again? But Brock Lesnar, as he has his hands on the briefcase. I'm just envisioning this. And then they have their final match at SummerSlam. Just a thought. But, I wouldn't hate it. And that's just my own fantasy booking there. But I like your little segment, buddy. I appreciate it. All right. Let's get to the next one.
And WWE podcast family. Hope everyone is Mike from Connecticut calling in. And Matt, I just wanted your thoughts on something. And I know it's a little early for a prediction, but I was thinking about Money in the Bank. And who, I know we're fast forwarding a bit, but who do you think might be in that Money in the Bank match? Typically, it's six people. I don't know if they're going to do 3 from Raw, 3 from SmackDown. That would kind of make sense. It wouldn't surprise me if they did something crazy like that. But just wanted to hear your thoughts, just to throw some names out. I know it's a little, but I had a thought that came to my head, and I think it would really, really upset and tick off a lot of people, and it would be so good if it actually happened. And that's if Dominic Mysterio won the Money in the Bank briefcase, and how arrogant he would be holding on to it for the better part of a year. And the crowd would absolutely hate him even more, if it's even possible to hate him more than they do now. The guy has just a natural ability to be disliked, and he does it so well. He does it to a T. You've often said, when he was a face, he was I love your analogy about it's interesting as a house plant. I think is how you said it. And now that he's turned, he's just so good at what he's doing. That smug, rat little stuck-up kid that you want to see get his butt kicked. Imagine him walking around with the briefcase and just putting it in everyone's faces and look how good I am kind of attitude. And I think it would be brilliant, personally. But I just wanted your thoughts on it and maybe chime in with some names on who you think might be in the match itself. All right, you guys do a phenomenal job every week. I enjoy listening to you guys all the time, and please keep up the good work. Take care.
Mike, great question. Everything seems to be in line here. I mean, you guys, I was just talking about Money in the Bank and proposing what the finish could be, part of the finish with Brock interfering, screwing Cody, but I didn't say who could win. And right on cue, Mike, great question. So I would agree. The format, I think, again, I know guys, we're getting like 6 weeks ahead here, but that's what we do. And, but I think it's relevant to talk about here because after Night of Champions, it's back to regularly scheduled programming. We're out of Saudi Arabia and, full steam ahead towards SummerSlam. But I love the finish that you're talking about here. I love it. I think it's perfect. I think Dom should absolutely be in this. I think it should be, if you're going to do 3 and 3, which I actually agree, I know it's Raw and SmackDown stars, but it makes sense in this instance that they compete against one another because it's still every man for himself. It's not like it's actually Raw versus SmackDown. It's every man for themselves. And you can't have two men's Money in the Bank ladder matches on top of 2 women. You can't do it, right? It's got to be only 1 and 1 for the women and men. And so that in this instance, sure. So as far as Raw goes, Dominic could be in it. I think you could have Cody Rhodes, obviously could absolutely be in it. As I look down the list here, I mean, if Drew McIntyre is still with the company, I think he's a front runner to be part of the Raw side. So I also think Bronson Reed could be in it if Drew's not in it. So early call. Drew, Dom, and Cody on Monday Night Raw. And because I need to look at the rosters here, I'm still not 100% familiar with everybody that's on the rosters for each show. On the SmackDown side, I could see, let's see, boy, oh boy. AJ Styles. I would say Bobby Lashley, but if he's in an actual match with Roman Reigns at the Money in the Bank event, he's obviously not going to be in Money in the Bank. So I think AJ Styles on SmackDown. Again, here's the thing. It's either going to be AJ or Bobby because one of them is going to be in a one-on-one match with Roman at Money in the Bank event. So it's either Bobby or AJ. I don't think both. And then the other 2 spots, I think Edge is another one. And let's see here. You could have, oh boy. You could have like Jey Uso. What about like one of the Usos? Make it interesting. Because then they'd be a favorite. What if he wins? He's in a qualifying match. He's in. What if he wins? Does he cash in on Roman? That kind of thing. So there you go. There's some early names, early calls. But ultimately, I'm 100% with you. Dominic as Money in the Bank winner would be awesome. Brock screws Cody, and maybe somebody else is still, tries to take advantage, and Mommy comes in and holds the leg of somebody, and Dominic ends up winning. It's a match designed for a heel to win on top of it. And imagine Dominic as, oh my God, it's already nuclear heat. It would be a nuclear meltdown. And he could cash in on Seth Rollins, who presumably is going to be the World Heavyweight Champion. And imagine Dominic as champion. It's not that insane. Now, I'm not already calling for Seth to drop the belt, but as you said, it can be cashed in anytime over a year. So Seth could still have a lengthy title run before that little worm comes in and cashes in and becomes champion. Just, again, think about that. I'm with you, man. Oh, good stuff. All right. Next voicemail.
Oh, hey, Matt. It's Bevan here. Hey, just watched Raw, and I've noticed too, I know you brought it up in your Raw review. I've listened to the first 20 minutes of your Raw review, with Paul Heyman and his mobile phone. Yeah, it's weird how he talks into his earpiece, but then on top of that, like, who has his phone on speaker in a noisy room when they're trying to speak to someone, because you would never be able to hear what the other person's saying. So, yeah, I think the whole thing needs to be polished a bit, because you should either have like earbuds in his ear or a headphone, connected to his phone, so it can actually sounds like there's actually a conversation going on. It just looks a bit too shabby. And one other thing is, oh God, I sound like a whinger these days, but I believe Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are on the Raw roster, and now they're taking on Roman Reigns and Solo at Night of Champions. So we've already got cross-brand or brand crossing already. But then on the other hand so now Roman Reigns decides who the tag team champions face in a title fight. So that's news to me as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure these pay-per-views are going to be great because, I mean, of late, they've just been really entertaining. But sometimes I just find the building up of them and the planning and the scripting or the creative side of things just seems to be inconsistent. But I guess we all know that. And, yeah, anyway, that's all from me. Have a good day.
Hey, Bevan, I'm glad you brought that up, too. I know it was a small thing, but we see Paul Heyman on his phone all the time, and presumably he's talking to Roman Reigns. But that's a great point about speaker, right? Even if he is, I mean, he's talking to the wrong piece of the phone. As I mentioned, it's like watching your grandparents try to work a smartphone. It's oil and vinegar, right? It just doesn't mix. They don't know what to do. I get that bit of a vibe, but also, yeah, the speakerphone thing. You're in front of 25,000 people or 15,000 people, and you're presumably on speakerphone. If that's the case, why can't I hear him? And certainly Paul Heyman can't. It's for the visual effect. They're trying to make it as dramatic as possible, and being on speakerphone, talking into your phone in front of your face, I would imagine they have deemed it more effective than just putting it up to your ear or putting AirPods in your ear or something like that. But it is ridiculous on its face. I mean, it's just, yeah, this is, I know it's a small detail, but the thing is, everyone uses smartphones. Like everyone knows how to use one for the most part. And while it's a small detail, if everyone owns this device and you look like you don't know how to use it in 2023, you look like an idiot. And it's just a small detail that can easily be cleaned up. 100%. I agree with that. And to your point about cross-brand, well, here's why I allow it with this one, because the Undisputed Tag Team Championship was never told to us that it's exclusive to a brand. It is still able to float. Now, the home for Sami and Kevin is on Raw. They were drafted to Raw. That's correct. But that's their home for when they drop the belts at some point. Because if they didn't have a home, if they weren't drafted and they lose the belts, where do they go? So some brand had to draft them, even though as long as they're champions, they can float. So that's why we're having this cross-brand stuff, already, even though they're on separate brands, only because the Undisputed Tag titles still allow it. That's the reason I'm okay with it and haven't lost my mind over it as well. But, yeah, I mean, we already have Paul Heyman on SmackDown or on Raw. He doesn't belong there. I mean, like, that already happened. We have SmackDown stars involved in the World Heavyweight Championship tournament. That never made any sense to me either. Like, I mean, they've already violated the draft. They violated the draft before the rules even went into effect. It was impressive. But, yeah, so thanks, Bevan. Let's continue on.
What's good, WWE Podcast? Checking in once again from Houston, Texas, none other than Rocky T, here with the new Roxanne Perez report, brought to you by WrestleMagic. Now, last night on NXT, Roxanne Perez did advance in the first round of the NXT Women's Championship Tournament, beating Jacy Jayne. Now, in the second round, she will be facing the new sex symbol of NXT, Tiffany Stratton. This is going to be a good one, guys. Both girls are on the rise. As we know, Roxanne is a former champ, so look for her to advance. She is a Texas girl. I am from Texas. I am your new Texas champion, and I will always be your Texas champion. So, with the Industry moving to Raw, I'm sure we're still going to be getting our Veer Mahan report from none other than DJ Kuzmo. So I would like to introduce you guys to the Roxanne Perez report, brought to you by me, Rocky T, brought to you by WrestleMagic. Also, WrestleMagic episode 3 coming soon. We are in production, so stay tuned for that. Everybody, don't have a good day. Have a great day.
All right, the Roxanne Perez report. That's a new one. I like it. See these reports, guys. It's not just a gimmick, right? Like it's important to know about up and coming teams and single stars that you may not be paying attention to, because being able to have that foundation of knowledge about what's going on. Maybe you don't watch NXT, or maybe you don't pay attention to those quote unquote lower status stars. Then you may be losing out down the line. You know, when you see them become bigger stars and you miss out on the experience of watching them grow and getting in on the ground floor, so to speak, and seeing them from the beginning. I think it's important, and it's more fun that way than just jumping in the middle of it on the bandwagon, right? So this is good stuff. I mean, I like the Roxanne Perez report. It is good to know, and maybe she turns out to not be a big star. But still, it's fun to follow stars that most people aren't, isn't it? Because everyone talks about the big stuff, including me, and I talk about it most of the time. So, all right, Rocky T, I know you got an email too. We'll get to that momentarily, but is that the end of the voicemails? Did I actually get to all the voicemails? See, I told you guys, we're nearly an hour in, and we've only done the voicemails. So, that said, I think that does conclude the voicemails for this episode. But now it's time for your emails. So let's get to those emails right now.
Hey, yo, it's me. It's Rocky T.
All right, continuing with Rocky T, might as well, right? Writes in and says, Bianca did sell the poison mist very well, or overselling it, depending on your opinion. If y'all didn't catch it, Asuka tweeted later that she put chili peppers in Monday's mist. I did not catch that. Thank you. She put chili peppers in it. So is Asuka not human? As I mentioned, that doesn't really help the case of that poison mist being able to remain in Asuka's mouth without her mouth burning up, unless she's just numb to it at this point. I don't know, but I do appreciate it from Asuka. I really do. And thank you for pointing that out. All right. I never liked Jinder Mahal as a wrestler, but I like his presence as a former champion in a manager role for the Industry. Agreed. Yes. Here's the weird thing. I normally would side with most people on the Jinder Mahal experiment when he was champion. I really didn't hate it as much as most people did. I actually enjoyed, here's a hot take, I enjoyed Jinder Mahal's run as WWE champion more than I enjoyed Kofi Kingston's run as WWE champion. There's a discussion that I'm sure some people like to have with me. But I would agree. Jinder Mahal is actually, I think he's underrated on the microphone. Is he Bobby Heenan or Paul Heyman? No, he's not. He's not Jimmy Hart. Okay. But he can talk. And I'm with you on that. And he can take a bump. He fits in perfectly. All right. Judgment Day gets a victory over KO and Sammy. Now this gives them leverage to demand a tag team title match, but we all know that can't happen until after Night of Champions. Yeah, I agree. And that's also another reason why I think Sammy and Kevin remain champions. Because there's a lot of talent that they could work with that they have yet to even work with yet as champions on Raw and SmackDown. Whereas you really want Roman as the tag team champion, half of them where he's barely there, he can't compete, another championship goes into the abyss. No, I don't think you do. And, for the reasons I've given earlier in the show, the Usos and the bloodline splitting is really the main story there. When Judgment Day does eventually capture the tag titles, and I believe they will, I would like them to invoke the Freebirds rule. That way, all of Judgment Day will be considered champions. I would agree. I mean, New Day did it their entire career, so why not? Having a women's tag title or women's title and tag titles in the same heel faction would be very good heat for all involved. Yeah, that hasn't happened yet, right? Has that happened? Bayley and Damage Control? No. I would agree. That'd be a first. Tag team title match at Night of Champions. Too soon for KO and Sammy to lose? Yes. I've talked about that already. Too many belts for Roman to hold? Yes. He would have to hold 4 championship belts. That would be insane. That's just laborious. Like unnecessarily laborious. Putting the tag titles on Roman means that sooner rather than later he will have to take a loss to drop the tag title, so I don't see that happening unless the plan is to turn the Usos face and have Solo and Roman drop the belts. Yeah, that's the only way you could do it. And here's the other thing. It's not anywhere near in the run of Kevin and Sammy. Like, they just won the Mania 6 weeks ago. That was a massive victory. That was a storyline building for many, many months. And they're going to blow it off and have them lose in less than 2? No way. And also Roman Reigns, from a tag team perspective, has already lost. Remember, he lost on New Year's Eve to John Cena and Kevin Owens. I think it was Jey Uso tagging with Roman on SmackDown when John Cena competed. So yeah, there's really nothing to lose here, and it furthers the storyline with the Bloodline. Kevin and Sammy continue their chemistry and their reign and working with heels and building new stars where it really wouldn't happen with Roman. So thank you, Rocky. Let's see here. All right. Let's get to another patron. Let's get to a patron that is new, Justin. And he writes in and says, "Hey, Matt, thanks for all that you and the crew do on the podcast. I've been listening for about 2 years and finally pulled the trigger on becoming a patron." Well, thank you. Again, you have no idea who the hell's listening, do you? And you never know. It's like, you just kind of put these things out. I'm sitting in my office in my house. Like, I'm just sitting here by myself. It feels like I'm just talking to myself. I have no clue who's listening to this. None. It's kind of scary sometimes. Okay. Like many listeners, I too have your podcast playing while I'm at work. I'm in construction, so I put you in my ear and go about my day. But now I can be an active member and not just a ghost listener. Well, cool. Hopefully you're not doing anything too dangerous while you're listening to the show. I don't want to distract you and put you in a dangerous position if you're working with heavy machinery or something that's, high risk. So careful. But that's cool. Again, things I would never think is happening. I see the download numbers, but those numbers are just numbers to me. Like, I don't know who's behind those numbers. So that's cool. I find myself siding with a lot of your opinions, especially when it comes to Cody Rhodes. That's maybe why I enjoy the show so much. Well, that's awesome. You and myself and Anthony are in the minority when it comes to hating his babyface character. Anyway, I'm pumped that we're finally getting into the Triple H era, as I think he's going to freshen things up with talent and storyline. If it's okay, I'd like to give a quick shout out to ISPW Wrestling. It's a local wrestling promotion based out of northern New Jersey. Anybody that's in the promotion or that's in the surrounding area, please check it out. It's a quality promotion, and Maven is the staple character there, and sometimes special appearances by guys like Gangrel, Tommy Dreamer, Tony Atlas, and more. Without the indies, we would never know most of the talent that we do today. I would agree with that. And shout out to ISPW Wrestling in northern New Jersey. Not too far from me. In northern New Jersey, I could get to in like three and a half quarter hours. So good stuff. I mean, I wish I was in the area. I'd check it out. I have a kind of a low key love for the indie wrestling scene. I never ever talk about it, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert about it. But I would agree. Yeah, a lot of the characters we've seen and wrestlers that we've seen over the last 20, 30 years have come from independents, then to NXT. They get WWE-ized, packaged, and then they get sent up. But they started in indies, right? That's cool, though. I mean, Maven. The only thing I remember about Maven, I think the most memorable moment for him, for me, was eliminating The Undertaker at the Rumble in 03? Was it 03? Might have been, when he eliminated Undertaker and he drop kicked him outside of the ring. That's really the only thing I remember about Maven. Of course, Tough Enough winner. But cool. I love it. Just the other day, MJF returned to CAP, Create a Pro Wrestling Academy, and he fought Leo Sparrow with his tag team partner GKM at ringside. Well, they're both local talent and have played a major role in ISPW, and it makes me proud to see them climbing the ladder of success in the wrestling business. Hopefully one day to see them in WWE. Yeah, that's all for now. Look, I would love to see MJF in WWE. It's no secret. I'm a big proponent of that. Not that I want to see AEW crash and burn. On the contrary, I want to see them thrive. The competition's great, but I just think MJF in WWE would be a seismic shift because he would blow everyone out of the water when it comes to promos. He's better than most people think he is in the ring, and he's a top talent instantly. Like, you don't have to worry about thinking, developing his character, who he is, all that. You just drop him in WWE world and you tell him, hey, you can't say, this and that only because it's PG, but that doesn't restrict him that much. Most of what he says is not cuss words. When he does that, it's for shock value. When, most of his content was like 98%, not relying on cussing. So the PG model wouldn't really restrict him that much. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks so much, Justin. Now let's get to, who do we want to get to next? Alex, the French guy, says he's the current European champion. In the future, could you see Gunther dethroning Roman Reigns? He's not that young, but he could use a victory to establish himself even more. If not, who do you see? Outside of the favorites, of course, so no Drew, Seth, and Cody. Okay, taking Drew, Seth, and Cody out of the equation, which it really could be any one of those, more Cody or Seth. Gunther is an absolute candidate. Now, the problem is, and Anthony DeMarco and I went over this, I think a few weeks ago on this topic. The problem is, while that's a marquee matchup, both are heel. And you can't have heel, right? You just can't do it. So that said, if Gunther was to somehow turn babyface and keep Roman heel, then hell yeah. Gunther is a absolute candidate. And I mean, that match on paper right now, even as heels, I'd love to see. But to stop Roman's streak, you got to have a babyface do it. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. So, but as it stands currently, to answer your question, Alex, no, because they're both in the same role. Down the line, sure. If one of them turns babyface, yes. Rather, if Gunther turns babyface, then yes. All right. Let's get to, let's see. I know Dr. BGB. I know you messaged me, and obviously, yes, I did get your voicemail. Let's see. Let's get to, why not? I got Mr. DJ Kuzmo. I know you got your email here. So let's dive into that. And let's see what you say here. I got to get to it. I'm stalling. I know because it's loading. It's slow loading. All right. So you say you're back at it again in the Mailbag show. Here we go. The response we wanted to see from none other than Roman Reigns finally happened this past Friday night on SmackDown in addressing the Usos' failure to win back the Undisputed Tag Team titles. Roman scorning Jimmy Uso for laughing and Jay for stepping in to apologize just before Jimmy was about to hit Roman. But interesting, though, that Roman and Solo are now the ones challenging KO and Sammy and not the Usos for the tag titles at Night of Champions. And the word of Hurricane Helms, what's up with that? I'm not going to repeat myself. I think I've already explained why they're doing that. I'm not dismissing your email. I just don't want to repeat myself, DJ. That's all. I just hope that this is the end of the storyline of KO and Sammy versus the Bloodline. It's got to end at Night of Champions. This has been a good storyline arc from late last year up until WrestleMania, but has been dragging far too long after WrestleMania and has got a bit stale. KO and Sammy seem to be on a new path, feuding with Imperium, while the Usos are kind of lost in the shuffle without a clear direction since losing their tag titles. In my opinion, they should have been drafted to Raw in the form of Roman excommunicating them from the Bloodline. Yeah, I would agree that we're all kind of ready. Like, it's not annoying yet, but it's kind of like, all right, this should be the last chapter. We're there. And I would agree. And I think that this will be the final chapter for a long time with Kevin and Sammy against the Bloodline, because it's time for them to move on, help build new stars, work with new heel tag teams. That's why I think they're retaining at Night of Champions. Again, for other reasons, as I mentioned earlier. But as far as your question about, or your proposal for having the Usos move to Raw and having Roman excommunicate them, well, then how do you get to the storyline of Jay versus Roman or Jimmy versus Roman? I mean, you got to tell that story. That's been brewing for a while, and you can't do that if they're on separate brands. That's the only issue I have with that. The World Heavyweight Title Tournament should have been exclusive to Raw, with Seth winning at Night of Champions against Finn Balor to become World Heavyweight Champion, while on SmackDown they should have had a tournament where the winner, being AJ Styles, becomes the number one contender to face Roman at Night of Champions. Oh yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, they should have had a tournament on SmackDown, who faces Roman, a tournament on Raw to determine who fights in the finals at Night of Champions. They didn't need to go Raw versus SmackDown here. And that's why, I can't stand this decision. I hate it a lot. Simply for the fact that we just had a draft. That's why I hate it. And yeah, I would agree. But they wanted to get to this story of the Usos and Roman and Solo, tension building. Now Roman and Solo feel that they can do the job that Jimmy and Jay couldn't, and that's what they're going to tell. And I think AJ will be a number one contender, maybe at Money in the Bank, or Bobby Lashley will be number one contender at Money in the Bank. It's one of those two. And of course, a lurking Randy Orton out there that we keep talking about, or Bray Wyatt, for God's sakes. My God, those two are just, I don't know what they're doing. I know they're injured, but it feels like they're just kind of hanging out, doesn't it? All right. Then the feud between AJ and Roman could have gone for 2 more PLEs, while the feud between the OC and the Bloodline could have possibly had an ongoing feud on SmackDown while Roman is on his part-time schedule for the duration of the summer. Anyway, I hope you get my rant. Also interesting to note that during Roman Reigns' reign of terror, there were only 6 opponents he feuded with more than once. Jey Uso twice, Sami Zayn twice, Kevin Owens 4 times, Daniel Bryan 3 times, Finn Balor twice, Brock Lesnar 3 times. Brock Lesnar, by the way, Brock Lesnar feels like 13 times, not 3. That's it feels like so many times. Even though AJ Styles is in his 40s, I don't see why he should not get a title opportunity against Roman. You can also make the case for the other babyface 40-year-olds on SmackDown in the roster of Edge and Bobby Lashley. Yeah, absolutely. But none of them are winning. That's the other thing. You look at Bobby, AJ, and Edge, great number one contenders. Still could have really good matches, good storylines, good promos outside of Bobby's promo ability. But at the end of the day, they're nothing more than stepping stones. Notches on Roman's belt, trophies on his wall. There's just no chance. But I would agree. There's certainly no case to be made against them at least getting an opportunity. They got a lot of star power. They got a lot of name brand value. So, all right. And WWE Creative. My plea here is to stop with the brand crossing collusion and let the brand split be effective. Both brands have rosters full of wrestlers that once booked correctly and given time and consistency can develop credible new stars to challenge for the major championships on the separate brands. Agreed. Let the brands breathe. But they can't do it. They just can't do it. They can't. I don't want to go down that road. I feel like I'm going to lose it. But DJ, can't agree more. My final plea as I end here is for Bianca and Rhea to swap their championships. We all see the obvious confusion here. Come on, Triple H and Creative, fix it already. Thank you and good night, DJ. I don't know what's taking so long. They don't even need to do this in the ring. Why can't they do it backstage? Why does this have to be a thing? And why do the announcers have to play stupid every single time that there's a draft and go, well, I don't know. What are they going to do? Well, I don't know. The Raw champions on SmackDown, SmackDown champions on Raw. We're in a conundrum, guys. What do we do? It's like, God, stop it. I don't know why this needs to be a thing. I would imagine it's to create some more tension towards an eventual Bianca and Rhea matchup where something will happen that won't immediately lead to a match, but it's building towards one maybe at SummerSlam or more likely WrestleMania. That's my guess as to why they're just taking so damn long to just swap a piece of hardware with one another. But thanks, DJ. And all right, we got a few more emails here and then we'll wrap it up. So let's get to our next one. And this is from Thomas. And he says, seriously, we have Roman going for another 2 belts. The meme really is coming true of Roman holding all the gold in WWE. To be honest, though, I do like the tag team title match at Night of Champions. My only issue being that, according to reports, Roman will be taking even more time off this year, and the shows he'll be working will reportedly not have him defend the championship. I read at SummerSlam the initial plans are Solo and Roman versus the Usos. This is a fun match for sure, don't get me wrong, but that means that will be in August, September with Roman not having defended the belt since WrestleMania. Apart from Money in the Bank, it still has yet to be determined. To me, this is almost This almost all but gives away that KO and Sammy are retaining at Night of Champions, since having more absentee championships will definitely have the fans in an uproar. It also makes more sense for the Usos to cost Solo and Roman the match unintentionally, where Solo takes the pin. I would agree. I've been beating that drum several times throughout the show here. Lastly, I also read on Twitter today that there are plans to have Bianca Belair and the Street Profits turn heel later this year. I think this is needed for the Street Profits, and for sure I think Bianca will totally benefit from this too. I don't mind Bianca as a babyface at all, but it would be interesting to see her as a heel with a change in character. Well, they were heels as a group. Kind of an informal group back in the pandemic era. Remember when somebody, like, quote unquote, poisoned Montez during the pandemic era? I don't know if it might have been before the Thunderdome. Bianca was a heel, and somebody had poisoned Montez Ford. You don't believe me? Go back and look. But they've been heels before. I would agree that all of them are in need of a change. And if you're not going to turn Bianca heel, at least do something different with her babyface character, for the love of God. That's all for me. Keep dropping the great podcast, by the way. I just bought my tickets for Raw in Quebec City in mid-August, so I could definitely do an in-person review after the show. Well, thanks, Thomas. Yes, sounds good. Remind me of that, because Lord knows I'll forget. Very good. And let's continue on with Diego from Honduras, Central America. Very cool. I'm 30 years old and been a fan of wrestling since my parents got me the WWF game for NES. Well, what WWF? You got to be more specific, Diego. What WWF game? Is it just called WWF for NES? I don't know. I mean, you might be right. I don't know, but either way, that dates you back 30 years minimum. Very cool. Just wanted to stop by and say that I'm a fan of the podcast and listen to it daily before I go to sleep. Well, you're not the first person to say that. Maybe I should sign up for the Calm app or something. I don't know. Maybe throw in my resume, my hat in the ring. Because a lot of people I've heard tell me that same thing, that they either fall asleep or listen to us as they're falling asleep. So I don't know what that says about this show, but I appreciate it. It's funny that I disagree with you like 90% of the time, but I love it. Well, that's good. Dude, yes. I want people to disagree with me more, and I don't form opinions and vocalize them on the show just to be different. Every opinion you've ever heard on this show has been authentic. I don't just I don't just manufacture opinions that I think will get the most feedback. I really don't. So I think that's what differentiates us from a lot of other shows that are either just very analytical. They don't provide opinions. They may be more smart. Well, there's your answer there. They may be smarter than I am in wrestling history and wrestling knowledge, but they don't have the personality and the authenticity and the opinion. It's just kind of like, and this is what happened on Raw, and here's what I think they're going to do. Like, I think our show has much more personality than a lot of other shows. And that's for better or worse. And in this case, you disagree with me most of the time, almost all of the time. And that's awesome. I invite people to disagree with me. I don't want everyone to just be yes people to this show. So cool. But let's continue. It's great to hear different opinions and ideas I haven't thought about myself. I try to become a part of Patreon, but for some reason my crappy government has blocked the transactions for that webpage. As always, keep up the great work. Really? They blocked Patreon? Honduras blocked Patreon. I wonder why that is. Are you sure you're not secretly in like North Korea or something? Well, hey, there's other ways to get ad-free if you want. Apple Podcasts offers it. You can go ad-free there or our website at www.podcast.com. Another place to go. All right, let's continue on. Thanks so much, Diego. And I hope we can lull you to sleep because that's the goal of this show. Maybe in the middle of the show, what I'll do is just put in like a lullaby of some sort. Just for like 30 seconds for those of you that are half asleep anyway listening to me. I'll just finish the job, right? just put in like 30 seconds to a minute and you'll be out like a light. All right. Let's go. Mason. Mason says, Let's see. So let me just first say I'm a huge fan of the show and support it. But now to my question. Theoretically, if Roman and Solo won the Undisputed Tag Team Championships, would they five them to the Usos or crop the Usos out? And also, is it just me or does anyone else see Omos versus Rey Mysterio? Thanks again. Agma? Wait, so your name Agma? Okay, I'm confused. This email's confusing. And not because you're confusing. I think it's just a language barrier. You're from Korea, first of all. Awesome, cool. Agma or Agma? Yet the name is Mason. I'll go with Agma. Cool. The other part of this, I'm confused about your question because you say, would the five of them, would they give them to the Usos? Is that what you asked for? Oh, would they give them to the Usos or crop out the Usos? I think that, no, if, and I don't think this is going to happen, but if Roman and Solo were to win the tag titles, they would never give them to the Usos. However, the Usos would find a way to get a number one contendership to face Roman and Solo. That's where they'd go. And I think that's where they're going no matter if Roman and Solo win anyway. But yeah, Omos and Rey Mysterio. Yeah, we've seen Big Show and Rey Mysterio many times in the past. It's a great dynamic. Except, isn't Omos on Raw and Rey Mysterio's on SmackDown? Or wait. Yes. So I'm pretty sure. So I don't think that's going to happen, at least in the short term. All right, let's continue. And this is, Chandler. I every time I see this, I'm thinking of the Friends sitcom. All right. So anyway, you say, I hope you're ready to read because I have a lot to say this week. Let me read your email. Oh, you don't have that much. It's not nearly as long as I expected. All right. Cody's promo on Raw was good, but I can't see myself caring about this next match without some kind of stipulation. We all know Brock never usually takes a clean loss or two losses in a row, so I'm not really interested in this. Well, before you jump to judgment, they work really well together. Cody works really well with anybody. Brock is an absolute, beast and is a star. And the match they're going to have is going to be very good. But yeah, there's going to be a stipulation. There has to be. I would imagine, because Brock said he wants a fight. He kept iterating fight. So I would think over the next couple of, one more Monday Night Raw we have to get a stipulation in there. I would hope that they do. Also, with this new World Heavyweight title, everyone just stopped talking about who will dethrone Roman. I always thought that the people saying Jay should beat Roman was stupid and would never happen. But now it's looking more and more likely as no one on SmackDown is a real threat besides Jay and Bobby. Well, AJ Styles. And what about Bray Wyatt floating out there and Randy Orton that is undrafted? Those individuals could. Or what about somebody coming up from NXT? That's possible too. So, hey, I know what you mean though. Jay beating Roman. I understand why you thought it wasn't likely or stupid, as you say. But Jey Uso is involved in a very intimate storyline with Roman. There's been a lot of abuse over the last 3 years. Remember how the whole thing started with Jay as the right-hand man. He eventually submitted to Roman after they fought it out. There's a lot here. And Jay is supported by the crowd in a big way. Remember when they thought he turned babyface and joined Sammy only to turn on Sammy? The crowd reaction was so hot for Jay. So I think they could do it. But yeah, people have kind of stopped talking about it, but that's kind of the point. You introduced this World Heavyweight title to kind of quiet the crowd for, the complaints, and valid ones, by the way, that Roman is barely there. We have a world champion that's here defending now every 3 months, is on SmackDown once every 5 weeks. It's too excessive, especially for today's audience that has an attention span of a goldfish anyway. It doesn't mix well with today's audience, and that World Heavyweight Championship is a nice distraction. But it's not just a distraction. It has a lot of lineage and respect. They didn't just create this out of nothing. So, yeah, got to stop talking about Roman a little bit. But that's part of the point. All right. Let's see. While we're on the topic about Roman, can you realistically see him holding the tag titles? The first thing I thought of after Paul Heyman announced the match was how would he carry 4 belts? I've already addressed this, so I'll continue. The World Heavyweight title finals should be a very good match and has the potential to be one of the best matches in a while. It gives me Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels vibes. I think we all know that Seth is most likely to win, but who do you see holding after Seth? Cody is the easy answer, but we all thought Cody would go even further in the tournament. The recent news, okay, so before the final point here, so now we're getting 2 steps ahead. Not only do we have to assume that Seth is going to win, we have to then think about who could beat Seth and be next. Well, first, I think Seth's going to have a long run. And Triple H set up this belt basically describing a babyface. Like, when Triple H introduced this belt, he essentially just looked in the WWE dictionary of what they look at a babyface, how they would define a babyface. A fighting champion. They'll fight all over the world. They'll defend it anywhere. I don't think that's, by the way, the best way to describe a championship unless it's the very watered down, meaningless 24/7 title. No, they shouldn't defend it anytime, anywhere. And that's how Triple H introduced it. That's describing the 24/7 title. You know, remember that thing that was a total joke and fun for about 5 minutes? Yeah, I think that was a bad way to describe it. But his comments that it'll be someone that they can respect and that will be here and all this, they essentially told you, hey, don't worry, a babyface is going to win this belt and they'll be here a lot. So you knew immediately a babyface is winning it. And when you look at Raw, who is the top babyface or babyfaces? Cody and Seth. So if it's not Cody, it's got to be Seth. So there's that part. Now, who takes it off Seth? Probably Dominic Mysterio. That sounds insane. But as I alluded to earlier in the show, again, this is all so far out. But I would imagine Dominic wins the Money in the Bank and cashes in on Seth in the next 6 to 12 months, and Dominic becomes champion. Think about that. That would be freaking awesome. Just for the heat. All right, so the recent news about Randy almost sent me to tears this week. I know it's kind of stupid because it's just wrestling, but Randy is my favorite star of all time, and it's just hard to come to terms with the fact that he might not get a proper farewell match. Sorry for the long email. I understand if you don't go through the whole thing. Chandler, I don't think you've heard long emails on this show, okay? Yours was a whisper in the wind, pun intended, all right? As far as Randy goes, yeah, there's been a lot of speculation that he's not going to be back. The doctors have told him don't wrestle. But here's the thing. That's what you'd want people to think when you're just about to return. Is it not? How do we know that's true? Are we Randy's doctors? Do we have his medical reports? Of course not. You know? So the point is, do I think this is nonsense? I wouldn't totally disregard it as nonsense. It could be true. Either way, I think Randy's returning. So whether you go the pro wrestling route of they're just trying to get us off the trail and sending out this quote unquote medical report that he's not coming back so people get him out of your mind. Oh my God, he's never coming back. And all of a sudden he comes back in a month and people are like, oh my God, I didn't think he could come back. Or the fact is the doctors did tell him that, but Randy said, F it, I'm coming back. Either way, Randy's on his way back, I believe. So, all right. Let's continue. A couple more and we'll wrap it up, as I said earlier here. We've got Jeff from the Philippines. So he says he's back and better than ever. Was that a pun on Eric Bischoff's music? I'll take it. What are your thoughts on JD McDonough? I'm a fan of the guy since NXT 2.0. He came here from NXT UK and then went back to Black and Gold NXT. He was basically just another cruiserweight wrestler during the Black and Gold era. I think when they repackaged him to 2.0, it did very well for him. His gimmick now is basically Patrick Bateman that isn't trying to hide his sadistic side. It seems like he's going to be the newest member of the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley had JD tatted on her left cheek at Backlash, and Finn Balor made a cameo after Kathy Kelly's interview on JD last week. Plus, Finn Balor was the one who trained JD. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence to support this. Absolutely. A ton of evidence to support JD could be a part of this group. If they do it, I wouldn't go more than that many members. You know, that to me is kind of the cap for a faction. Rhea Ripley's the biggest babyface in that group. She might be one of the biggest baby faces on Raw. People are ready to get behind her and support her. And That said, though, with JD, if he comes on, he's already a heel. They did a nice job of talking about his dark side. He's the ace, as he said, the Irish ace. Yeah, I have no problem with that. From what I've seen, young guy, not the biggest guy, but that doesn't matter in 2023 anymore. And talented, loved the video package. Sign me up. Let's go, right? Number 2, what are your thoughts on Roman and Solo challenging for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship? I think that they're winning the titles at Night of Champions. Solo's very protected, and Roman is booked as the strongest version of himself. I think this is just another way for them to add another title on Roman. Plus, Paul Heyman cut a promo a few weeks ago on Raw about Roman setting his sights on the World Heavyweight Championship. It's like an unspoken rule in wrestling. You shouldn't tease something and not deliver. What I believe is going to happen is whoever is the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania will end up another victim to Roman's title reign. That's all for today. Hope everything's all right over there. Been very busy the past few months, so I don't have much time to watch wrestling. Thank you. Well, catch up, buddy. There's a lot to catch up on. I hope you are staying safe and doing well over there as well, over there in the Philippines. Basically, I mean, you are literally half a world away. It's so crazy we're reaching people that far. But that said, again, the tag team titles seem to be a hot topic as expected on the show. So, like I've told everybody else, I'm not going to rehash things I've already said about what I think could happen. But do I think that whoever's the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania will end up another victim of Roman's title reign? No. This title cannot be absorbed to Roman Reigns. As much as I would love to see it just for the simple crowd reaction, it's not enough of a reason to put it on him. There needs to be a deep reason. You can't introduce a new belt. It would chip away at the actual goodwill of fans that the fans have with the company. The fans would actually revolt against the company, not against Roman. It would be ridiculous. I mean, just you can't do it. You can't do it. Even if it's great heat for a little while, the fans would just be like, dude, come on. You know, like, this is nonsense. It would actually be channel changing, I think. It would actually reach that point. It would turn people off. And there does reach a point where you piss people off, but you piss them off in a way that's angry at the company. So you're just going to do what you can to hurt the company, which is just don't watch, don't add to their numbers, don't add to their ratings, don't buy their stuff. That's all. Yeah, but I think it would reach that point if they did that with Roman. So I don't think that's going to happen. But the dark part of me wants to see it. I do. So, all right, Jeff. Thank you, buddy. Let's see how many emails we got left. I keep saying a couple. I keep lying to you guys just to keep you engaged in the show. Let's see. I really keep losing myself. All right. Let's talk to King Scully, who's in the house. He said, representing the UK all day. He says that he's coming for the European Championship. Okay, look out, Alex. Thank you, Matt, for reading my email a couple weeks ago. I believe I just missed out last week, so I'm trying again. Last week, everything I said was pretty much the same as DJ in his email. Anyway, I know we're heading for a Seth Rollins heavyweight title win, but I would have preferred someone new to have a title reign, and not Roman Reigns. It wouldn't surprise me if Roman won the new title down the line at some point, considering the draft normally falls apart and it's a WWE thing to do. But the draft already proved pointless when they announced SmackDown's competitors as part of the tournament. For me, I would have liked Shinsuke Nakamura to win it. I'm not his biggest fan, but I enjoy his matches and I prefer us sing along to his theme music rather than Rollins. But we know it's going to be Seth, and you, Matt, get to sing along to his annoying song. That's kind of the trend. It's almost like a staple of being a big babyface these days is you have to have a nice sing-along song. I don't know if it's coincidence or it has become kind of a requirement. I don't know, but either way, like it has become a staple of big babyfaces are sing-along songs. And I don't know what to make of it yet. The ideal, or rather the match between Solo and Roman against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is hard to predict. I have some ideas. Maybe the Usos cost Roman and Solo the tag title match. Ding, ding, ding. That's what the fans would want. However, it's more likely to be the Usos helping Roman and Solo. I'm really not sure if they're going to want to dethrone Sami and KO already. But on the other hand, Reigns and Solo are pretty much undefeated. It's a hard one to call. I hate to ignore this, but again, if you've gotten this far, You've heard my thoughts on this. So I feel disrespectful just blowing over this, but I can't keep repeating my thoughts on this and what I think will happen. So I'm going to have to move on. The Battle Royal to become number one contender for the IC title on Raw could have been more advertised. Weird how it was announced on the show on the same night, pretty much. I'm definitely surprised with the Mustafa Ali victory, especially considering he's been a bit of a jobber for a large part of his WWE career. I thought Bronson Reed would have won. Bronson versus Gunther would have been tasty, or even Riddle. At least it wasn't predictable in that sense. Yeah, I actually thought it was going to be Riddle, but they're holding off on that program. Gunther has so many people to work with. He has got a hell of a future in front of him. He is a future undisputed and or world heavyweight champion. He is going to be, I say, in the next year to 2 years, one of the face, if not the face of the company. I mean, maybe not surpassing Roman Reigns, but kind of like move aside. We can share this space kind of a deal. He's got a great face too, doesn't he? Gunther has, that's his one of, but not the greatest, but one of, is his face. It's perfect. He looks so old school. It's like somebody took a time machine, went back, and kidnapped somebody from the past, like as I've said, a war general or some kind of soldier in an army, like just a badass looking soldier, and brought him back to 2023 and said, "Hey, all right, here you go. You're released. Go do this pro wrestling thing." He's got such a great look. My God. But again, Ali's victory, I mean, how can it not be because they're going to Saudi Arabia? It is. If they weren't going to Saudi Arabia, Mustafa Ali would be rendered to catering, and that's just a fact. So, all right. By the way, yeah, Bronson versus Gunther, too early, and they're both heels. Can't do it. Another thing about the Battle Royal was what was with all the tag teams in it. That was odd. That kid in the crowd laughing at Dexter staring at that MMM Maximum Models was amusing. I'll leave it at that, and I don't want to go overboard. Thank you. So, I didn't notice Dexter or the kid in the crowd laughing at Dexter. I missed that. But all the tag teams in the Battle Royal, it just shows you they don't know what to do with the tag teams. If you're a tag team, what are you doing in a singles competitor match? I agree. Again, it shows you that the tag team division has never been a priority for WWE. That's all. It's just kind of the same old. But, yeah. All right. So I know you have part 2 here. It's not too long, so I'll allow it. And the new rules of the mailbag go into effect next week. So, all right, you get part 2, King Scully here, and let's get to it. This is the final email, guys. So I know I've already sent you an email, but there's something else I want to say. You asked the question, where's Ronda and Shayna? You mentioned them going into a story with the tag champs, and they are. Do you work on the inside? You predicted it. Although who's a heel and face is not portrayed how you want it. No, I don't work on the inside. I will say I'm probably slightly more right than wrong, like 51-49 as like a whole, but I don't work on the inside. All it is simply being exposed to this product for the last quarter of a century. That's all. You just kind of get to know the WWE style, how they set things up, who, when they come back, where they would be positioned, all that kind of stuff. It's not a crystal ball. It's not being on the inside. It's just experience of exposure and a long period of one at that, right? That's all. What I don't get is, if Raquel is so strong, why did she just let Ronda hold her for that long? Also, how would being blasted in the arm knock you out? It was, while I have no problem with the context of what Ronda said to Raquel, it didn't make sense that she was able to just hold her by the hair. And Raquel is suddenly just rendered useless for how strong she is, all the athletic things she does in the ring. Boy, she just can't handle Ronda Rousey, and holding her with one arm down. Yeah, it didn't make any sense. And then, being kicked in the arm and suddenly you're knocked out. Look, this is where you need a bit of a number for your brain, where you have to go, okay, I can't think about this. This is ridiculous. I can't think about it. I want to be engaged in the story, but this detail is ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know who came up with that segment. They should have. Here's how I would have bought it. If they beat down Raquel a lot more, right? Instead of just a couple of shots, with how big and strong she is, it would have been a little bit more believable and totally fixable if they just beat her down where she was kind of half unconscious being sat up by Ronda, who's holding her by the hair. Instead, it was just cartoonish. And the amount of a beatdown did not equal the amount of total uselessness that Raquel felt by just, oh, she's got my hair. What do I do? Yeah, I agree. And here we go. Lastly, I found it strange that Sonya Deville just watched her tag team partner get beat. She had plenty of time to try and interfere. Instead, she let Chelsea Green get dominated. I like Chelsea Green's Karen type of character, by the way. It's refreshing and she plays it well. Yeah, that was a little weird, but it'll be forgotten and a detail that no one will remember. And thank you, King Scully, for the email. And Chelsea Green does play it well. She does. She plays it well, and she's also decent in the ring. I like her character more and more. She's one of the ones at first that was just cringy, and it felt very lay cool from the mid-2000s. Or was it? No, it was like early 2010s. It felt very lay cool, just egregiously, horrendous and cringeworthy. And then it just started to grow on me and grow on me and grow on me. And now I enjoy seeing Chelsea Green. I do. She's easy to hate, and you love to hate her. So, yes. But thanks, King Scully. Thank you to everybody. Again, guys, we're going to tone it down a little bit next week and try to keep this show to an hour, which is really kind of my sweet spot. So we're going to implement those new restrictions next week. And, hey, I want to get everybody on the show. You guys take the time to write in and call, and I want to make sure that those efforts are rewarded and answered. So, guys, by the way, if you want to support the show like so many people did tonight, go to patreon.com/WWE podcast. If you want to hit up a ad-free experience, it's a great way to do it. Or you can go to WWEpodcast.com or WWEpodcastshop.com for all your podcast merch. Or you can go to, what's the last plug I always do? Spotify? 5-star review? I don't know. There's too many at this point. It's just basically one big infomercial, right? All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'll be back Sunday night with your weekend review. But, of course, you've got a lot more audio between now and then. AEW, you've got maybe a WFTW release. You've got Retro. You've got the SmackDown review. It just keeps coming. The hits keep coming. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.